Okay, so hey guys and welcome back to another Sport This Week video, and today I've got baseball, NFL, cricket, football, UFC, boxing, rugby, F1, Moto GP, ice hockey, and I don't know if I said cricket, but yeah, cricket news. If you are new around here and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, like it if you do indeed like it, and let's get straight into it. So, we're going to start off with the NFL news, where it's the continuation of the preseason. So Chiefs won 17-10 versus Packers, Patriots lost 23-6 versus Raiders, Rams lost 16-7 versus Bengals, Dolphins won 48-10 versus Eagles, Buccaneers lost 27-10 versus Colts, Mayfield as announced as Week 1 starter, and Smith has been announced as Week 1 starter. And so yeah, that is all the NFL news. Moving on to the baseball news now. Red Sox lost 5-3 versus Orioles, Yankees won 4-2 versus Mets, Dodgers lost 4-0 versus Brewers, Yankees won 4-2 versus Mets, Red Sox lost 9-3 versus Blue Jays, Astros won 4-2 versus Twins, Dodgers won 10-1 versus Brewers, Red Sox lost 3-2 versus Blue Jays, Astros won 5-3 versus Twins, Dodgers won 12-6 versus Brewers, Red Sox lost 6-5 versus Blue Jays, Astros won 6-3 versus Twins, Yankees won 13-4 versus Athletics, Dodgers won 10-6 versus Marlins, Red Sox won 9-8 versus Rays, Astros lost 2-0 versus Orioles, Yankees won 3-2 versus Athletics, Red Sox won 5-1 versus Rays, Dodgers lost 2-1 versus Marlins, Astros lost 3-1 versus Orioles, Yankees lost 3-2 versus Athletics, Dodgers won 8-1 versus Marlins, Red Sox lost 12-4 versus Rays, Astros won 3-1 versus Orioles, and Yankees lost 4-1 versus Athletics. And so yeah, that is all the baseball news. Moving on to the cricket news now. New Zealand won by 5 wickets versus West Indies. Kuwait won by 1 wicket versus UAE. UAE won by 47 runs versus Singapore. Ireland won by 211 runs versus Netherlands. Kuwait won by 6 wickets versus Singapore. Hong Kong won by 8 wickets versus UAE. Ireland won by 8 wickets versus Netherlands. Afghanistan won by 8 wickets versus Sri Lanka. Australia won by 5 wickets versus Zimbabwe. India won by 13 runs versus Zimbabwe. Hong Kong won by 8 wickets versus Kuwait. England won by 85 runs versus South Africa. And India won by 5 wickets versus Pakistan. And yeah, that is all the cricket news. Moving on to the football news, where there was quite a lot this week. White has announced retirement. Scott has announced retirement. Kamara has joined Udinese. Villa won 4-1 versus Bolton. Southampton won 3-0 versus Cambridge. Brentford won 2-0 versus Colchester. Crawley won 2-0 versus Fulham. Everton won 1-0 versus Fleetwood. Forest won 3-0 versus Grimsby. Bournemouth won 5-3 via pens after drawing 2-2 versus Norwich. Palace won 2-0 versus Oxford. Leicester won 3-1 via pens after drawing 0-0 with Stockport. Wolves won 2-1 versus Preston. Brighton won 3-0 versus Forest Green. Newcastle won 2-1 versus Tranmere. Leeds won 3-1 versus Barnsley. O'Neill has been sacked by Stoke. Clark has joined Middlesbrough. Ali has joined Besiktas. Champions League draw. So Group A, Ajax, Liverpool, Napoli, Rangers. Group B, Porto, Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Club Brugge. Group C, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Victoria Plzen. Group D, Eintracht Frankfurt, Spurs, Sporting, and Marseille. Group E, AC Milan, Chelsea, RB Salzburg, and Dynamo Zagreb. Group F, Real Madrid, RB Leipzig, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Celtic. Group G, Man City, Sevilla, Borussia Dortmund, Copenhagen. Group H, PSG, Juventus, Benfica, and Maccabi Haifa. Weigmann is the UEFA Women's Coach of the Year. Ancelotti is the UEFA Men's Coach of the Year. Putellas is the UEFA Women's Player of the Year. Benzema is the UEFA Men's Player of the Year. Umtiti has joined Lecce. The Europa League group stage draw. Group A, Arsenal, PSV, Bodo Glimt, Zurich. By the way, my pronunciation is just going to get worse for the more lesser teams. Group B, Dynamo Kiev, Rennes, Fenerbahce, and AK Larnaca. Group C, Roma, Ludogorets, Betis, and HSK. Group D, Braga, Malmo, Union Berlin, ST Nord, and Monaco. ST Gilloise. Group E, Man United, Real Sociedad, Sheriff, Omonia. Group F, Lazio, Feyenoord, Midtjylland, and Sturm. Group G, Olympiacos, Qarabag, Freiburg, and Nantes. Group H, Crvena, Zvezda, Crvena Zvezda, Monaco, Ferencvaros, and Trabzonspor. Isaac has joined Newcastle, and it was the Europa Conference League draw as well. Group A, Istanbul Başakşehir, Fiorentina, Hearts, and RFS. Group B, West Ham, FCBSB, Anderlecht, and Silkeborg. Sorry if I'm just butchering this. Group C, Villarreal, HB Sheva, Austria Vienna, and Lech. Group D, Partizan, Köln, Nice and Slovakia, not Djurgården. Group E, AZ, Apollon Vaduz, Dnipro 1 or Dnipro I. Group F, Genk, Molde, Shamrock Rovers, Garden. Group G, Slavia Prague, CFR Cluj, Sivasspor, Balkani. Group H, Basel, Slovan Bratislava, Zalgiris, and Pivnik. And yeah, that is all the draws for the group. Sorry if I have absolutely butchered like your club or anything like that. But yeah, moving on. Milik has joined Juventus. Morpie has joined Everton. Lazio won 3-1 versus Inter. Man U won 1-0 versus Southampton. Liverpool won 9-0 versus Bournemouth. Brentford drew 1-1 versus Everton. Brighton won 1-0 versus Leeds. Chelsea won 2-1 versus Leicester. Man City won 4-2 versus Palace. Leipzig won 2-0 versus Wolfsburg. Arsenal won 2-1 versus Fulham. Bayern drew 1-1 versus Mönchengladbach. Juventus drew 1-1 versus Roma. Barak has joined Fiorentina. West Ham won 1-0 versus Villa. Wolves drew 1-1 versus Newcastle. Spurs won 2-0 versus Forest. Neil is the new Stoke manager. Belotti has joined Roma. Atalanta won 1-0 versus Hellas Verona. PSG drew 1-1 versus Monaco, and Fiorentina drew 0-0 versus Napoli. And yeah, that is all of the football news. Moving on to the boxing news now. Haney will rematch Cambosis Jr. on the 15th of October. Duarte has joined Golden Boy. Hughes versus Galahad. Pankin versus Harper, and Wood versus Lara will fight on the 24th of September. Plant will fight Durrell on the 15th of October. Fundora will fight Ocampo on the 8th of October. Fury will fight Hunter on the 29th of October. Markey won by unanimous decision versus Ramirez to become WBC Silver Interim Welterweight Champion. Clark, Patterson, Dixon, and Levars will fight on the 24th of September. Love will fight Spark on the 12th of November. Fury has announced he has come out of retirement. KSI won via KO in round 2 versus Swarms. Hyde won via TKO in round 3 versus Thompson. Salt Pappy won via KO in round 1 versus Andy Warski. So just to go back and make sure I got all the predictions right. KSI predicted right. Hyde predicted right. Salt Pappy predicted right. This next one, Dean the Great won via KO in round 1 versus Evil Hero, predicted right. Swingler versus Sher Delise, and Rahman Jr. versus Belfort will fight on the 15th of October. That main event is, if you know fighting, that's a fun main event. Sorry if you can see the paper in the corner. Moving on, King Kenny won by majority decision versus Fei Sensei. I mean, I didn't predict that one right, but it was close. I don't think it should have really gone to Kenny, but you know. Deji won by stoppage in round 2 versus Fuzi. I said that Deji will win, unlike a lot of people. Simba won by KO in round 2 versus FaZe Temper. I said Simba would win, unlike a lot of people. And KSI won via KO in round 3 versus Alcaraz Pineda. I predicted KSI to win by unanimous decision. I didn't think he'd actually get him out there, so fair play to him. And the final bit of news is Pedraza Drew versus Commie. And yeah, moving on to the ice hockey news now. Dobson has signed a 3-year deal with Isladin. Romanov has signed not Isladin, Islanders. I'm stupid. Romanov has signed a 3-year deal with Islanders. Turris has announced retirement. Stancini has signed a 1-year deal with Codens. Kessel has signed a 1-year deal with Golden Knights. Zandina has signed a 3-year deal with Wings. And yeah, that is all the ice hockey news. Moving on to the UFC news now. There was no actual fights this week, but still a few dates that have come up. Cannonier will fight Strickland on the 15th of October. Ferguson will fight Lee on the 10th of September. And Holland will fight Rodriguez on the 10th of September. And yeah, that is all the UFC news. Like I said, not much. Moving on to the Moto GP news now. Marquez has given the green light to intensify training. Mir to miss the San Marino Grand Prix. Bastianini to join the Ducati factory team in 2023. Zarco and Martin to continue with Pramac Racing in 2023. And yeah, that is all the Moto GP news. Also, not a race this week. I believe there is one next week. Moving on to the rugby news. Australia won by 25-17 versus South Africa. Argentina also won 25-18 versus New Zealand. And yeah, that's all the rugby news. Moving on to the F1 news now, where they're back after the summer break and there is another race. But we got a few things to talk about before then. Ricciardo to lead McLaren at the end of the year, which is a big thing. Another big thing, Audi to enter F1 from 2026. That means there might be 11 teams on the grid now. I believe there's 10 at the moment. Verstappen, Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Bottas and Schumacher all received grid penalties. It was the Belgian Grand Prix. Alonso started third, Perez started second, and Sainz started pole. And the Belgian Grand Prix will return next year as well. And in the end, Sainz finished third, Perez finished second, and Verstappen won, which is fair play to to Verstappen. Even though he received a grid penalty, he still won. And in the end, Bottas and Hamilton did not finish. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you didn't, like the video, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.